Are you ready to experience a game that gets better with every playthrough? Join me as I share my love for Katzenjammer Blues and why you should give it a shot. Cat Blues, originally known as Katzenjammer Blues, is a card game crafted by the esteemed game designer Reiner Knizia, featuring stunning illustrations by Franz Vohwinkel. Originally published by Goldsieber Spiele in 1998, it quickly gained popularity with Rio Grande Games, releasing the English version the same year. A Japanese edition followed in 2013, and a Korean version was released by Open & Play in 2019. This game combines auction and set collection mechanics, presenting a unique blend of rummy and auction rules. Players dive into a world where nocturnal cats are crooning their blues, and the coolest feline groups vie for gigs, with their managers placing high bids for additions. Ultimately, success is measured by the collection of mice, and players aim to gather the most to claim victory. In 2024, Bitewing Games launched a reimplemented version, titled Cat Blues: The Big Gig. This revamped edition introduces subtle rule modifications and enhancements that enrich the overall gaming experience, especially for your initial playthroughs of the game. Let me show you how the game is played, then I'll share the changes between the original release and the new re-implemented version, and I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. Let's get started. Tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be using the Japanese edition, which is based on the original release of the game. Let's go. Components: 90 cards, numbered 1 to 5 and J for jokers. 24 mice. 1 rulebook. The deck consists of 15 cards for each value and 15 jokers. The illustrations of musical instruments and background colors on the cards do not affect gameplay. Setup: 1. Place the 24 mice aside. For 4 or fewer players, remove 4 mice from the game. 2. Select a band leader for the first turn. This player shuffles the cards and deals 6 to each participant, placing the remaining cards face down in the center. How to play. The game unfolds over several rounds, beginning with the band leader revealing cards from the central deck. Players then bid using cards from their hands for these revealed cards. The winner of the bid collects the cards and can present foursomes to earn mice. The game concludes when a player collects the last mouse, or when the central deck is exhausted. The player with the most mice wins. But beware, over-relying on joker cats can result in a loss of 5 mice. Steps to play. 1. Revealing cards. The band leader reveals cards one at a time until a card value appears twice, or a joker is shown. If a joker is revealed, each player draws a card from the deck. 2. Bidding. The revealed cards are auctioned off. Bidding starts with the player to the left of the band leader. Each bid must be higher than the previous one. Players can bid with cards of equal value or different values. Equal values. Announce the number of cards and their value. Different values. Announce just the number of cards. If a player doesn't wish to or can't participate in the current round's auction, they simply pass. They will be out until the end of this current round, and cannot rejoin in this round's bid. They will rejoin in the next round's bid. Bidding continues until only one player remains. This player collects the revealed cards and becomes the band leader for the next round. Notes: each bid must be higher than the previous one. A bid is considered higher if it consists of more cards than the preceding bid, or if the bid is of higher value than the preceding bid when using the same number of cards. Different value bids are considered lower than a bid with the same number of cards of equal value. When bidding with different values, this bid must consist of more cards than the preceding bid and must all be of different values. The highest bid of this sort is 5 different values. 3. Presenting foursomes. After winning a bidding round, the auction winner can present foursomes, 4 cards of the same value, to earn mice based on their value. Cards from the presented foursomes go to the discard pile face up. Jokers. Jokers can be used in bids and for presenting foursomes, acting as wild cards. Any joker that's used in this way doesn't get discarded, but gets placed on that player's display face up. Any player with the most jokers at the end of the game loses 5 mice. Players can also present 4 jokers as a foursome, either declaring a value for the mice or discarding them. Game end and scoring. The game concludes when the last card is taken from the deck or the final mouse is collected. Players reveal their jokers from their hand and add them to their display, and the one or ones with the highest amount of jokers loses 5 mice. The player with the most mice wins, with ties broken by the fewest jokers. Changes. Cat Blues, the big gig, introduces several enhancements to the original game, all meticulously designed by Reiner Knizia. Key changes include components. The game adds additional components, including quartet tokens, more mice due to the 3 sets in the game, tip case cards, big tips, and 7 cards valued at 7. New artwork. The game features fresh illustrations by Alicia Girox. Player count adjustments. The game was originally released as a 2 to 6 player game. In Cat Blues, the big gig, it is a 2 to 4 player game. Fun fact. Originally when the game was released, it was intended to be a 2 to 4 player game, although this was changed and added during the original publication of the game. Game rules. Players can now restore their hands to 4 cards after forming foursomes. The inclusion of quartet tokens and the big tips. After forming foursomes, the player gains a quartet token of the value of the exchange for mice. There are 6 different tokens in total to collect. You can collect each token once. All players who have collected the most quartet tokens at the end of the game receive the big tip, which is worth 10 mice points. Players cannot use foursomes of jokers to earn mice. Multiple sets. Each game session consists of 3 combined sets. The 1 set variant remains available for those who prefer a single set. New expansion. Our Serenading Sevens expansion has been introduced. In this expansion, 7 cards with a value of 7 each are added to the deck of cards during setup. When exchanging for mice while presenting a foursome, the player gains 7 mice, although a quartet token is not awarded for this type of exchange. Having played the original Katzenjammer Blues from Goldsieber Spiele, Rio Grande Games back in the early 2000s, I can confidently say that this game is a hidden gem for those who appreciate a solid gaming experience. In an era when purchasing a game meant you played it extensively, I truly learned to appreciate its depth. Depending on who you're playing with, especially new players, the initial experience might seem off, boring, or even intolerable. However, this could be a huge mistake, as the game reveals its layer of strategy and excitement with every playthrough. Katzenjammer Blues becomes increasingly dynamic and strategic the more you engage with it. The game severely punishes rookie mistakes, especially if players bid too many cards early on. You might find yourself waiting idly or even playing a side game like Magic the Gathering. True story. The key is to hoard cards until the right moment, striking to collect as many mice as possible without relying too heavily on joker cards, which can cost you 5 points in the end. This mechanism keeps the gameplay tense and strategic, mirroring the clever twist often seen in Reiner Knizia's designs. One of the highlights is the mind games during the auction phase, where you can bait opponents into making costly mistakes. Watching them lose their cards opens a pathway for you to score on those valuable mice rewards. The gameplay is fast, easy to learn, and typically wraps up in around 30 minutes or less. The artwork is another standout feature, illustrated by Franz Vohwinkel, one of my favorite board game artists. The visuals are colorful, charming, and whimsical. Each component, including the game box, showcases well-executed illustrations, and the text on the cards is clear, making it accessible for all players. The components' quality in the Japanese version is above average, with good cardstock and thickness. However, I found the cards a bit glossy for my taste, and the game box is unfortunately too small to accommodate sleeved cards. It would be fantastic if publishers could design boxes that fit sleeved cards. I recently experimented with the new rule set from Cat Blues The Big Gig, integrated into Katzenjammer Blues. After several playtesting sessions, I've noticed that this version feels less punishing than the original. The ability to draw back up to 4 cards after winning an auction adds a layer of accessibility and friendliness. especially for newcomers. The Quartet tokens also inject additional strategy, allowing players to score up to 10 points with the Big Gig bonus. Overall, Katzenjammer Blues is truly a hidden gem, and I absolutely love this game. I'm excited to see a new reimplemented version and can't wait for more players to discover this treasure. I would love to do a side-by-side comparison of the old and new versions, if the opportunity arises, as it would be fascinating to see the overall production quality firsthand. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, take care. Peace.